Hey guys, welcome back to Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney, and today I'm going to give you my March wrap-up. Now, March in general was a tough month for me. I felt like I had many slumps and I did not get as many books read as I wanted to. The past couple of months, I've had a huge amount of books read, like, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, like 15, 16 books in January and February. And I already felt a little burnt out in March. And so I gave myself grace and I said, you know what, it's fine if I don't get all the books read. I don't get 16 or this huge number, not a big deal. And so right now I'm filming this on the 28th. I have 12 books read with one I'm going to read by the end of the week. I'm reading that Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, and I really want to finish that by the end of the week. So the first book I read this month was Wonton, Terror-Vivien, Chien. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I like this series. This is the series where Lena, I believe her name is Lena, works at her family's restaurant. Death happens and she tries to solve it. I thought it was decent. I thought it was just, I wasn't in the mood for a cozy mystery, and it was March Mystery Madness, but it was okay. The next book I read was Curated. This book was by Nellie Wilson. I gave it 2.75 stars. I found Nellie Wilson last October. She was a great interruption to my scary October reads, and I found another book of hers on Kindle Unlimited. And I was really excited about this book because it was about curators at a museum, which was my lifelong dream, to be a curator. And it didn't happen, obviously. But this book just didn't hit the way I needed it to. It was like a academic romance, but the two lead characters just didn't give what they needed to give. It didn't feel like they were compatible. Didn't love it. 2.75 stars. So at this point in the month, I'm feeling a little down. I'm feeling like I'm in a rut already. Then around the 8th, 9th, we took a trip to Chicago. And on our drive down there, which is about 5-ish hours, I listened to Daisy Jones and the Six, There and Back, and I rated that 5 stars. I really avoided this book because I try to, I mean, not purposely, but if it's super popular, I really go the other way. And so I had heard about this book for so many years and just like everybody raving about it, and I was like, I don't need to read it. I'm okay. It was so good. 5 stars. Audible is the only way to do it. I don't think I would have read it just in paperback or whatever, but the Audible was amazing. I do have the paperback, but I actually never even cracked that spine because I was listening to it and it was great. I loved the voice actors. I loved the journey. And then when I got home from that trip, I immediately started watching the show and they lost me. I'm only on episode 3 still, and I have no desire to watch the show. It's just not good. It's not as good as the book. Next up, I went back to Throne of Glass and I read Queen of Shadows. I gave this 3 stars, and I really struggled with this series and this book. As you guys know, I'm marking this as a finished book at 400 pages. It's over 600 pages, but I just couldn't get through the last 200. And so I read a summary about the rest of the book and called it a done. I think 400 pages is solid to mark it as read. That's my choice. I stand by it. And I DNF'd the series. If you have been watching, you know that I went back on DNFing the series as I proceeded to buy Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn to tandem read. So they have me sucked in still, but did not love Queen of Shadows. 3 stars. This series in general for me is like a 3-star series. Coming off of ACOTAR, which was like a 5-star series, to this series almost isn't fair, but it doesn't hit the same way. And if you're coming from ACOTAR to this series, just know they're not the same. It's not a love romantic interest. It definitely is a high fantasy political sort of book. And so if you come into it with that clear mindset, you should be good. After reading Queen of Shadows, I felt again slumpy and needed to finish something. So I picked up Family Secrets, Sweet Valley High book number 43, and it's by Francine Pascal. I'm further along in the series than this, but there were a chunk of books around the 40s and 50s that I skipped over. They didn't seem exciting, but this book I gave 4 stars. Generally for all of my old school books, I start them at a 3, so nothing gets less than a 3. But for this one, it was exceptional, so I gave it a 4. I really liked it. What was it about? Okay, Elizabeth and Jessica's cousin came to visit, and her mom and dad are recently divorced. The mom is getting remarried, and the new husband has a child. And so the cousin is an only child, and so they decide to send her with Elizabeth and Jessica just so she can get the feel of siblings. The daughter, or the cousin, is very upset with her mom for the divorce and totally blames her. She loves her dad. She thinks her dad's the best. And then it comes to find out that the Wakefields know that the dad is not the best. They can't tell her, but apparently he cheated and he was verbally abusive. And then at Sweet Valley, the cousin starts dating a guy who's similar to the father. And they have to tell her, like, hey, this is why this feels uncomfortable, or it's like your dad. And so it was pretty good. After that, I read Things We Hide from the Light. I gave this 3.5 stars. I was excited to read this after reading Things We Never Got Over. We're still in Knock 'Em Out. This is book number 2 in that Knock 'Em Out series. It's going to be a 3rd book, and it was good. I mentioned this in my vlog probably, but these books are not only romance. They're almost like romantic suspense, because the crime element is so high that the romance almost takes a back seat, but it was generally pretty good. I didn't think the 2 main characters had that much chemistry, but again, same like Things We Never Got Over. It's like they dislike each other so much, then why are we dating? But it was what it was. 3.5. Okay, then things started turning around for me. Middle of the month, I read Imposter Syndrome and Other Confessions of Alejandra Kim. That is a YA book by Patricia Park, and I gave that 5 stars. I loved this book. This book follows Alejandra, who is navigating a world in which she is half Argentinian, half Korean. She doesn't fit in her neighborhood, doesn't fit in at school, which is a predominantly white school, and she's trying to navigate her space and her world after the passing of her father. Her father died by suicide. And so she's dealing with grief. She's dealing with how to connect with her mother again. She's dealing who she kind of blames for the suicide because she feels like her dad didn't live the life he wanted to live because of her mom. And then she's also dealing with microaggressions and macroaggressions at school, even by her best friend, a white female that tries to be an ally. So I really thought this book was so on point for kids today and for everybody today. As you guys know, I do work in equity, and this book was something that I would love our team to read. I told my daughter about it. I think it's an amazing, amazing book. All right, next up, to lighten things up, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run through some Babysitters Club books. So first I read Claudia and The Clue in the Photograph by Ann and Martin, of course. I gave this 3 stars. Really, it's a 2.5 stars. It was not the best. I barely remember it. The mystery books to me are the most outlandish, but I thought because it was Mystery Madness, I would give it a shot. But they're so outlandish to me because they literally are asking kids to do the most random stuff. Why would kids be hunting down bank robbers? I don't understand. And in this book, that's what's happening. And they piece it all together. At one point, the person who's the suspect is brought into questioning. And Christy, of all people, is like, we need to be in the investigation room. And they let them in. So, what? Anyway, not the best, but I read it. Then I read Stacey and the Haunted Masquerade. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it. This book follows, Stacey, obviously, but they are planning a masquerade party at their school. They haven't had one in a while. The last time they had one, it just got out of hand. It's right before Halloween, so all of these pranks are happening, and the dance director, the advisor for the dance, is highly involved in the story, but pranks just keep happening. They think they're gonna have to cancel the dance. And the principal alludes to the fact that the last time we had this masquerade dance, there was a problem. Let's make sure it's a good one this year. And that was 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And so come to find out, at the dance, the advisor that is now in the school was a student at the school and played a prank on a girl and brought her to the dance, sort of like the movie Carrie, and was trying to win a bet and be with her the whole dance, but he started feeling bad and guilty. But the girl really liked him and felt used and flipped out and ended up in a mental institute. And so she was the one doing all these horrible things to the school because she had heard somehow that the masquerade dance was happening. I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know how the girl got into the school on the day of the masquerade dance. Like, a lot of it didn't make sense, but it was better than the Claudia one. Next up, I read The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I did that as a buddy read with my sister. We both were feeling slumpy this month, and we thought, let's get a good book that's going to knock out the slumps for us, and this was it. I rated it 3.75 stars. It was okay. This series is just okay for me. I get why people like it, but it was just okay. I thought Cal redeemed himself at the end. I thought Lana was the worst, such an enabler, and like not a great role model. Not my favorite. And I did not enjoy, and I didn't realize this was a thing I didn't like, but I didn't enjoy that there was a kid involved in all of this because Lana has custody over her daughter, over her sister's daughter, and the daughter just inserted herself all the time. She's like 5, so not my favorite. Then I read Stacey and the Mystery at the Empty House. I gave it 3 stars with a note of meh, M-E-H. This one was okay too, a little outlandish again. The Johansons go on a trip to Paris. They asked 13-year-old Stacey to house sit for them and walk their dog twice a day. Stacey starts finding weird things happening at the house. She goes in, cups are being used, she finds hair in a brush, and so of course the Babysitters Club are on it. They start to investigate what's been going on. And then they track down somebody at the train station based on a message that's left on the refrigerator that sounds like might be their person. They go, and it's the same day the Johansons come in from their trip. And so the Johansons see Stacey, and they see the guy that's been the suspect of being in the house. Come to find out, the Johansons forgot to tell Stacey that they had a good dear old friend staying at the house during the time that she was house sitting. That made no sense to me either, because like, how would you have not told the house sitter that you actually have somebody in the house? And why would you need a house sitter if you have somebody in the house? That didn't make sense. Anyway, 3 stars was the base that I give. Not the best. Then finally, I read, not finally, I listened to the audiobook Love at First Psych. I listened to that just one day during work. It's really quick. Really cute story about 2 college students who are doing a psychology project together about love at first sight. One believes that it happens, one doesn't. They fall in love and come to find out the girl in the project actually had love at first sight, didn't even know it. And then the last book that I'm hoping to read, and hopefully I can update that in maybe the description, but this is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. I am 87 pages into the 460 some pages that I need to read, but I'm hopeful that I will get this done as my last book of the month, which means I might not have a break between April and March, as I like to have at least a day break between books, but I really want to read this. If I don't get it done, it could roll over into April, but I would be kind of bummed. So those are all the books that I read in March. Comment down below what you read. Did you read anything that I read? How are you feeling this year? Are you feeling slumpy yet, or what? Thanks so much for my new subscribers. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this small channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.